Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Hey, Are You Still There podcast. This is Mike.
And Beth.
Beth, we got a full plate today.
Do we now?
I have breaking news that even you don't know about.
What's that?
We are going to shift our recording and published podcast days.
Okay.
We've been recording and publishing on Saturdays. Like,
Yes.
we record on Thursday, Fridays, put it out Saturday mornings, and that's kind of been our thing for the last 79 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's becoming harder and harder, I feel like. More for you than me.
I know. It's just like my work schedule or different things happen, and it's just harder to, do it. Sorry.
That's all right. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that we're just going to stick to a weekend recording, like a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
And we'll put it out on Monday mornings. Is that all right?
Yeah. Well, the good news is, and then if even, you do it whenever, but surely between Friday and Sunday, we can get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're not ready by Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I'm just going to do it
by
myself.
yourself. Yep.
So we can
We're
guarantee
past that deadline right now.
every
4:54
Monday morning,
Sunday.
one will come out.
Yes.
And looking at the numbers, most of our listens come Monday through Friday.
Do you think it's because they're listening on the way to work or something?
Yeah.
As they walk from their bedroom to
We got
their
a few
office
people
chair.
that like to listen on Saturdays, but other than that,
Yeah.
they're loyal listeners.
Yeah.
Speaking of a loyal listener, I went out to lunch with a loyal listener Friday.
Yes, I have to hear about that.
Yeah, so I don't know if he wants me to call his name or not, so I won't say that.
Yeah.
I'll just use his initials. We're just going to call him Mad Dog. All
Mad
right?
Dog?
Mad Dog.
Like
So-
in Harry Potter? Okay, anyway.
What?
Wasn't
there a
there? I thought
Mad Dog?
Anyway, keep going. Keep going. So, anyway.
So Mad Dog is a loyal listener, and you know him best. He's the gentleman that said that we were the Seinfeld of podcast.
Okay, this is, sorry, it was Mad Eye, not Mad Dog. I was like Mad Eye Moody. I was like, why was I thinking Mad Dog?
don't know
Anyway,
why
sorry. That's who I had pictured in my head, though, that this is what he looks like.
Oddly enough, that is what the guy looks like.
So he has a fake eye?
He does.
Okay, anyway, keep going.
So anyway, he reached out for a couple of reasons. I guess we're gonna. He lives locally and specializes in helping nonprofits, and so he was pretty intrigued by our Hope Center and wanted to meet about that and see what he could do to help us with the Hope Center, if there's anything he could do. But then I think also he was just really starstruck. I think he just wanted to have lunch with the Mike from the Hey, Are You Still There podcast.
Can you remember the quote he said about it?
Well, he said it was a Seinfeld podcast.
Yes,
that it
yes.
is a podcast about nothing.
Yeah,
but sometimes something.
Yes, his quote and Katrina's son's quote. Those are the two I want to put on there. That this podcast is ridiculous but kind of funny, and then that is a podcast about nothing. Yeah,
Yeah,
those could both be T-shirts if we sell them.
yeah,
Which we should look into.
we should.
Yeah. So did he just sit like googly-eyed the whole time and just hanging on every word? Was he taking notes?
Yeah,
about
it
what you
was
said?
crazy. It was just I had an audience. I was able to talk. He just couldn't believe he was sitting there with me.
Did he just sometimes get nervous?
He was very nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're intimidating because you're a
Obviously.
star now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
can
could
tell.
see that.
I was like, come on, man, calm down. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, great dude, Mad Dog. That's what I'm gonna call him, Mad Dog. What are you laughing about? That's his name.
I know. I'm just thinking about
That is his real name, Beth.
Luke's name and his name. I know. I'm just, okay, sorry. Anyway.
He's gonna be offended. Mad Dog's gonna stop.
I don't mean to offend him.
So anyway, obviously had lunch with a loyal fan. So if anybody else wants to have lunch with us, hit us up.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, we didn't report to you. I did remember, I know you do the agenda, but on our Valentine's thing too, because we had the Valentine's event that we hosted, the trivia.
We had,
and so
you and I went through some stuff, went through some of the questions. And the Valentine's night went great. Everybody had a great time and gave out some nice prizes.
Well, the loyal listeners too, you were talking about them. That's what made me think of it. We're going to go get some of those awful hearts, but the Dollar General line was too long. And so while they love me, they don't love me enough to wait in the Dollar General line behind one other person. And so they didn't get them.
So they don't love you that much.
What would you call that person? What's their nickname?
Not that loyal.
Not that. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, but that was interesting. That was fun doing the Valentine's thing. And especially some of the answers people had. It was really funny and we laughed a lot. So
Yeah,
that was
it
a
was a good
lot
time.
of fun.
It was a great time. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you're listening and you want the Hey, Are You Still There to come on the road and do something for you or your church or organization, we'd love to do that,
Yeah, we
right?
can MC things. We
Yeah.
can do trivia.
I
We
could
can do
soon do my
Q&A.
stand-up,
Yeah,
which
because
I'll get to in a second.
yes, well, I'll do that when you're ready. We'll talk about the stand-up.
But anyway,
Yeah.
circling back,
Yes,
the new schedule,
Monday.
shows are going to drop on Mondays.
Yes, it'll brighten everyone's week.
It will.
Yeah.
Those long commutes to work,
Yes.
where most people are probably still working remote. So from the commute from your coffee maker to your desk chair.
Did we talk about last episode that I had my 20-year work anniversary? I can't remember.
We didn't. There's been a lot that's happened.
Yeah, there has been a lot that
Let's
happened.
stay on track.
I know, but thinking about work made me think about it. Anyway, keep going.
All right. So now we got that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
New schedule dropping on Mondays.
Yes.
Recap the Valentine's
Yes,
dinner.
we did that.
It was nice.
Yeah, I didn't get any candy from anyone.
No.
I do like chocolate candy, so that would have been okay. But anyway.
And I do want to tell the story of Valentine's because this is very Beth core. I didn't get a chance to share the story because we had recorded it the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we recorded it on Friday the 13th.
Yes, and then
so we haven't spoke with anyone on here
about
since.
Valentine's Day and gifts and stuff. Yeah.
So I got Beth a gift, as I always do, because I'm a great gift giver.
Yes.
And I went and got you a gift, put it in a bag, a Valentine's bag with pink and purple tissue paper, and came and gave that to you.
Yes.
While you were sitting on the couch that morning. I said, here you go, honey. Happy Valentine's Day. And you said, do you want me to go get yours? And I was like, well, is it wrapped? And you said, no.
But you also almost had a heart attack that I got a gift for you,
I was
right?
a little shocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you went ahead and opened up yours, and you loved it, I think.
Yes, I did. It was hummingbird feeders, and they're beautiful.
Yeah. And so anyway, something happens as far as like 30 minutes goes by.
Yeah.
And I come back, and there's the bag with the wrapping paper back in it, sitting there on the sofa. And I was like, what is this? And she was like, well, there's your gift. You had to open your gift and then use that same bag and tissue paper to go get my gift to put in that bag and give that back to me.
And then Maria came down, and Maria's like, did Mom just reuse that bag and tissue paper? Did she just put your gift in that right now? And you were like, yes. And she's like, that's the most mom core thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am offended by that. I just feel like I was like doing something by getting a gift on this day that, and getting a thoughtful gift. I think I got a good gift, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So I did.
There were some games that we played at TensionCon that we both really loved.
Yeah.
And that's what you got me for Valentine's Day, some new board games.
So it was better than some of the gifts I've given you in the past, or better than nothing. So I just feel like I had really upped my game by having a gift. And I really thought I was doing something
Now
by
you
putting it
gotta
in that
just,
bag with the tissue paper.
Raise it to the next level where next year you'll just have to
Already have a bag and tissue paper?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I wouldn't get my hopes up that much.
Mm.
Then it won't be mom core.
That's true. So Valentine's gift giving was nice.
Yes, it was.
It was very nice. You had, I guess, a late Valentine's gift. You gave yourself a Valentine's gift this past week.
Well, I didn't think it was a Valentine's gift,
Well,
but I guess.
Valentine is a holiday of love.
Yes.
And people may not understand this about you. You are a very frugal person.
Yes,
so
I am.
You
to the point that Josh y'all are perplexed by me because, like, when I took Josh to New York and we were looking, he was like, why don't you buy yourself something? And he was showing me all this, like, expensive stuff. And I was like, I don't want that.
You spend your money, our money, on experiences.
I do. And that's what I told him because he was like, why don't you collect anything? Why wouldn't you want this one designer piece of clothing? And I was like, I just don't. I'd rather I collect experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody gave you $10,000, you would take like 5 vacations.
Yes, I would.
Versus taking that 10 grand and buying something.
Or if we weren't going somewhere on a vacation, it would be like learning like we're all going to learn to scuba dive or something. Yeah. It'd be some type of experience.
Or eating. You like to eat, and you're an expensive eater.
I do. I got that from my dad.
Yes.
I do both. And Josh also inherited that from me.
Both of you.
Yes, we love good food. Yeah. Yes.
And so you spend your money on food, good food.
Good food,
and
not bad
not
food.
crappy food.
Yeah.
You spend your money on good food and good travel.
Yes,
That's
I
what you
do.
spend your money on.
Yeah.
And because of this, I was thinking about it. You're 51 years old.
Yes.
You've been driving, obviously, since you were 16.
Yes.
You've owned 2 new cars in your life.
In my life, yes.
In your life. Only 2. Like 2 that you buy off the lot.
Yeah.
So,
and the first one was like before you and I got married. And so what had happened
right
is...
before we got married.
Yeah, because I graduated college and I had my first full-time job. I took it, people may not know this, but I worked for a year in a biochemistry lab. And so I had a full-time job. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do.
You were a big girl. You're all grown up. You could afford a car payment.
Yeah, and so I had just dreamed of like having a brand new car, as people do, you know? And so I got a Pontiac Sunfire that people won't know, but it looked kind of sporty. And I remember it was $15,000 new. And I think I had it 3 weeks. And a lady rear-ended me on 52. I was on the 52 exit to get onto 40. Traffic used to be terrible there. And did over $5,000 worth of damage. So the car, that was when I learned about depreciation the hard way, because then I had a $15,000 loan to pay on a car that might have been worth $9,000 after the repairs. And I was just like, this is for the birds. I'm not liking this at all, you know? But yeah, you're right. So that was my first one. And then you can tell our second one was what?
A Honda Accord.
Yeah.
That was in 2002 or 3.
As you could tell, too, when I splurge on a new car, man, I'm getting the Porsches and stuff.
And that was it. So we have not bought a brand new car. We bought a bunch of cars.
Used cars, yeah.
But not bought a brand new car.
Yeah.
And so I say all that. Say you don't splurge on yourself.
No.
So this past week, you got a new used car.
A new used car, yeah.
You still haven't bought a new car.
No.
And we probably never will buy a new car again.
I probably
just because
won't.
they do depreciate so much. And we wouldn't have bought the one in 03, but my aunt worked at the Honda dealership and got us like a friends and family discount.
And it was is about the same you'd pay for a newer used car.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got quite a deal. So we've always bought used cars. And so anyway, we found ourselves a car short.
Yes. Because Josh is
the car Josh has is what I'd been driving. And so.
Well, and let's say too, this means we have 5 people in our family driving, which my dad even joked and said I should look into fleet insurance. And I'm like, we have a fleet of cars.
Yeah.
So that 5 cars.
There's 5 people in our family and all 5 people have a car.
And that's another reason they all have to be used.
Right.
Yeah.
But we had 4 essentially.
Yes.
You know. And so I was like, I told Beth, I said, I would rather you get a new car and I'll keep driving our Subaru Outback, which I love. I think it's the best, most fun car I've ever had. Or you keep the Subaru Outback and I'll just go get me an old truck or something. And so I really wanted you to get something because I feel like you deserve it. And so you decided to start looking for a new car and you found one pretty quickly.
Yeah, we always buy our used cars. I mean, we've bought a few from individual owners, but from Larry Wicker Motors here in Kernersville, and because we find them trustworthy and we know the people that work there, and we've bought so many cars from them. I feel like I wonder if I put somebody through like school
I was
or
thinking
something.
about it. I think my first car from Larry, and Larry's retired now. His son Zach runs it. Him and Daniel Reel and Zach Wicker run it, but it was 2001 was when I bought my first car from them.
Which is also the year I graduated law school.
And you want to know how I remember?
How?
I bought it on 9/11.
Oh.
How about that?
Yeah.
I
didn't remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went and looked at it. It was a Ford Explorer. We went and looked at it that weekend. On Monday, I called Larry and said, all right, we're going to take it.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, we'll get all the paperwork ready, come by on 9/11, that Tuesday, and sign the papers and whatever, and it's yours, you know? So.
Wow.
I will never forget that.
Yeah.
But that was the first car I ever bought from Larry was on 9/11.
And then we've bought cars for our kids from Larry. We've bought everything. But I like it because I feel like I can, and our friend Daniel works there too, but I feel like they're fair on pricing, and they're not going to like sell you some like junk car with, they tell you. But also I feel like, Daniel was helpful for us thinking through like what I might really want and need. And yeah, so we went to the lot and I think found the car the first day.
Yeah.
I only looked once.
You only test drove 2 cars, and this was the second one.
The second one I drove, and I was
done.
like, yeah. And the first one I drove was amazing, but it wasn't $10,000 more amazing than the car that I got. So again, frugalness kicked in, and I was like, it's not worth $10,000 to have that.
But it's a 2021.
Yes.
So
and it's a Lincoln.
It's a Lincoln.
And as soon as the kids have gotten in it,
Corsair.
Jacob got to come home. Yeah, my mom and mother, your mom, they both asked me what kind it was. I was like, I don't know. And then my mom said, is it a 6-cylinder? I was like, I don't know. And so I was like, I'm the worst. But like, I just looked at it.
It gets you from point A to point B.
It does.
And it's somewhat luxurious.
And I trusted them. And then I asked you to look at it to make sure. And you did some research. So this is one thing. I can be a real control freak in some areas. And as we know, I can obsessively start to try to gather data to make decisions, which then would lead me down a rabbit hole of 6 weeks later, the car would be sold and I wouldn't have a car because then I would not be able to decide. And so on things like this, I just trust like you and them to help. But Jacob got to come home briefly and he got in and he's like, ooh, this car is nice. And we told him what we paid and he was shocked, but that we could get a car that new and that nice,
for that price.
Yeah. And it does feel very luxurious. I was able to drive to see my friend Jenny from college, and it was really sad too because she lives in Raleigh and I'm here, and we were like, has it been over a year since we've seen each other in person? But we met in Mebane at a Cracker Barrel, and just driving it was very pleasant. It's very smooth and it's got all these buttons and stuff. I don't know what to do, but the crazy thing is when we were test driving it, so we get in, I turn it on because I have been in new enough cars that they have the push button to start. So I get that.
Well, the Subaru's a push button.
Right. So, but then I'm just sitting there paralyzed and I'm so embarrassed. And I'm like, Mike, I don't know how to put it in gear. There was no gear shift on the steering wheel or, in the middle. And I was like, what do I do? And I'm looking. And then I'm like, oh, there are buttons. So under the radio, there's like a P button for park and a D for drive. So I was like, that's country gone to the city there. I'm like, I don't know about these newfangled cars with buttons.
Who would have ever thought push button gears?
Yeah, to put it in drive. Yeah, it's been so... Yeah, so it's been fun. And so I do like it a lot. I hope I can keep it nice and everything, but I like it. It does feel very luxurious. It feels like, I don't know, because the other thing is with having kids, I mean, I know people know, but all the years of like the brown minivan, that then if the kids weren't riding with us and I ever had to get in the back, there's like old French fries and melted crayons and stuff like
it's
on
kind
the
of a
seat.
rite of passage when you got small kids. You got to go through the minivan stage because it's going to get trashed, and you've got to get those kids in and out easily.
Yeah, and those doors. I mean, because I remember we were like, we will never get one because we had done like the SUVs and stuff, and then when you are dealing with car seats and toddlers and all that, it's so much easier. But yeah, so this is a million steps up from the minivan. So I love it. Yeah.
So congratulations, Beth. You gave yourself the gift of a car.
Yes. Yeah. I can't believe I went from not even liking Valentine's to giving myself a car on Valentine's.
But you do love yourself.
Oh, well, thanks. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the things I got to work on during Lent.
And speaking of Lent, we had Ash Wednesday this past Wednesday.
Yes.
And today would be the first Sunday in Lent. And so...
Oh, well, technically, I don't have to do what I gave up. I forgot that. I did declare 1 year virtual Sunday so that I could like cheat during Lent, but we can talk about that another time. But we had a great Lent service. We had more people, Ash Wednesday, show up for that than
we've ever had at Ash
Wednesday. And we had like stations that you could go around, prayer stations. And not only did we have a lot of people, but we had a great variety of ages at an Ash Wednesday service. So we had kids up to, of course, much older people. And so that was really neat and special to have that. So our Ash Wednesday service was great. So, yeah. So it was good.
Yeah. And so
a lot happened.
Do you want to talk about what you don't have to, what you took up or what you get, because in Lent, the whole idea of the season of Lent in the church history is it mirrors the 40 days of Jesus in the wilderness. And so it's supposed to be a season of fasting. And you go through this fast. And granted, back in those days, food was kind of the only thing you really fast from.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot now that I guess we could fast from. So nowadays, I think it's probably more beneficial for people to give up social media, television, movies. There's just different vices that we have today that they didn't have back then. Now, there's still some people.
Your time and your energy and all that.
And you could also do, I think food's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think we eat unhealthy. So I know sometimes for Lent, I'll give up fast food.
Yeah.
And I feel a whole lot better at the end of those 40 days when Easter comes around than I did. And it's kind of, I think I eat less fast food now than because I've had seasons where I kind of went and didn't have fast food for 40 days.
But if you think about it, though, too, Lent, I think, is to help us, like, rely on God. And, you and I are doing the Bible recap, and I was reading about the manna from heaven in the wilderness. And it was interesting because, like, the manna would come down on Saturdays, but if people tried to get too much of it and store it up, kind of like we do when we eat too much or do binge too much on TV or whatever, like we do in our life, the manna would go bad. But so you couldn't store it up. You had to rely on God to provide it. But on Sundays, you could store it up and it wouldn't go bad on the Sundays. I feel like I'm doing a bad job articulating this, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, whether it's fast food or social media or TV or, more addictive type things that people do, we all have things that I think we go to distract ourselves from, like, our pain or from what we're dealing with, and, that aren't healthy. And so Lent's, if you aren't kind of using that to, like, as a salve on whatever those wounds are, it is going to force you to rely on God or somehow work through whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah. And one of the things we try to teach is if you give something up, you need to take something on.
Yeah.
Because if you leave a void in your life, if you're not the one that's very intentional about filling it with something positive, the enemy's just going to fill it with some other,
Yeah. You'll go from if, like, somebody gave up Facebook, they'd just get TikTok or,
exactly.
Or you'd start watching, you're not listening to the radio, but you're listening to, like, podcast or you're watching TV or something. Yeah.
So we encourage people, give something up, take something on. Give something up that's a sacrifice for you.
Right.
And take something on that is beneficial, that's going to help you grow in your faith, help you to become a better person, help you to move forward in life.
Yes.
And so that's kind of the encouragement. Our family has done it forever. Sometimes we share with one another what we're doing, and sometimes we don't. I like to joke and say, if I tell you what I'm giving up,
it won't come true.
It won't come true.
It drives me crazy, and I roll my eyes every time you do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good joke.
It's okay.
So I'm not going to say what I've taken up and given up. Given.
I mean, I'll share mine because mine's a little different. And I think even when I told you, you were like, not in a bad way, but like, no, I think you were just like, I don't know if it was unexpected. And part of mine, I think the reason it seems a little harder is because what I'm giving up is not something I can always control. And so I'll just tell y'all what it is out there in the listening world. But what made me think about it is 51, I just had my 20-year anniversary at work. I've been very reflective just about, like, my life and what I've done and where I'm going and what I want it to look like, and about joy and about hope and about pessimism and sadness, about all those different things kind of mingled together. But you asked me a question when we went to that board game convention, Tantrum Con, last weekend, or the weekend before last. You had asked me, you said, Beth, why do you think you get so angry at yourself, you know, or so upset with yourself if you make a mistake in a game. Because you were saying, like at TantrumCon, you're learning all these new games. Like you're sitting down, it's a game you've never played. So who's going to sit down and just be like, well, I know how to do it. I'm going to beat everybody. I mean, it can happen, but it's probably, we're playing a lot of new games and you're not going to be perfect at all of them. And you observed that I try to do that. I try to be perfect. I try to get it right. I try to and it's not, I do like to win, but this isn't even about me wanting to win so much as it is this perfectionism and this negative self-talk. Because like what I will do is if I make a mistake, I almost can't focus on enjoying the game the rest of the time. I will just sit there and I'll be like, that is such a stupid mistake. I can't believe I made this mistake. Or another example is one time, it was when we were traveling and we were in Poland and I downloaded an app and I was trying to get the bus. And I tried to be really careful. I was on my phone, but I was in a hurry and I accidentally hit an ad and signed up for like this internet thing. And it was fine. We were able to get it fixed. But all I could do was like obsess about how stupid I was. Like, I just can't. Hold on one second.
Our dogs are going nuts.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let's see. It sounds like an owl or something.
Sorry for that crazy interruption. There was like a random neighborhood dog that's not even from our neighborhood.
No, it's from
that was in our backyard that made our dogs go crazy.
Yes, and so it was very distracting. So we had to deal with it. Normally we don't, of course we don't edit, but we had to deal with it or I couldn't concentrate. Anyway, so what happened was if I make a mistake like that, it's very hard for me to then just let it go because then I get on this like, you know, negative self-talk about you're so stupid. Why would you do that? How could you make this mistake? I get anxious about how big the mistake was. So that made me think about all of my negative self-talk. And to Mike's point about replacing it, it's like if I start trying to like catch myself in this negative self-talk, and the reason this negative self-talk is so bad, in addition to just, you know, making you feel bad about yourself, and not helping you have any like self-love or self-worth when you have it all the time. But it's also bad because I feel like, you know, you say things to yourself you would never say to someone else. And then you start it and you kind of can go down this road of like, you just then, it can totally derail everything that's in your head. So I have started to try to catch myself. So of course I can't catch myself the very first time I do it. I can't stop it because as people say, you can't control the first thought that pops in your head.
As my friend Jim would say, you can't stop a bird from landing on your head.
Yeah.
But you can stop it from making a nest there.
Yes. And so what I'm trying to do is catch myself when I'm saying these very negative things to myself. Because this negativity also leads to my perfectionism. It's all tied together. And I'm trying to replace it with daily affirmations and Bible verses. And so far, I've just looked for different verses kind of based on whatever the negative thought is I'm having that day, trying to find a verse that's like truth. So I'm trying to basically take these negative things that I say to myself that I would never say to someone I loved. The things that I say to myself, I would be horrified. I would never say it. And if I heard anybody else say it to people I loved, I would be very angry at them. So I'm trying to catch myself and I'm trying to replace it with a scripture or something that is more based in truth, you know, or more balanced thought. So this is sort of what you do in therapy, but feel like some of mine too. I just thought it would be helpful if I can focus on scripture because that is so grounded in truth. It feels more real to me because if I just tell myself I am enough, I don't know that I'm like, how do I know that's true? Am I enough? But if I have like scripture that talks about God's love for me or being enough or things like that, it's more real to me. So that's why I was saying mine's a little different because it's not a traditional, like I'm giving up Facebook.
So it's been 5 days. How's that working out for you?
It's been good most days. I've been strong, but today was kind of a rough day for me. Today's been a hard day. And so I don't know why, you know, you're going to have good and bad days. And I think that's the other thing I'm trying to do is in some ways, Lent could go the way of New Year's resolutions if you aren't careful. You know, you can be 5 days in and be like, well, I failed, you know, which is the negative self-talk I would have, like, why even bother? It doesn't even matter. I've blown it all up. I should just quit. But I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to, like, reading, this isn't even a scripture, but reading the Old Testament, literally feel like all that we have been reading, and even in Leviticus, is God shows up for the people, and then they grumble and complain, and then God has to show up again, and then they grumble and complain. So when I look at how many times they kind of cycled through this, like, hope and faith in God, but then they fall into this pit of, like, doubting God and forgetting everything God did, and then they come back out. I'm trying to give myself some grace with that, because I'm like, God still loved Israel, his chosen people, and he kept showing up again and again and again in the Old Testament for them. So I'm trying to give myself some grace.
Well, good. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you are way too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
So you need to show yourself a little bit more grace and space.
And I think it's a non-traditional one. So I guess the reason I shared that is, even though that's a vulnerable sharing with people, I think it's about what your battle and struggle is. It's about what's, keeping you from, growth or being close to God or whatever. And so maybe just to encourage people, if everybody's like, I'm giving up caffeine. Well, if caffeine is not that big of a problem for you, you haven't really
it's like me saying
that
I'm going to give up
much.
smoking.
Yeah,
and I've never smoked a cigarette in a day in my life.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, like, it's got to be something that, and I think that's why you may also fail at it. And not fail, or it may not work every day. Because if it's a real challenge and what you've given up, you're probably not going to get it perfect.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right.
But I don't know if Maria went through with it, but she had talked about giving up TikTok, which she said would definitely be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she'll, and hopefully, I don't know, but that's one of the things. And then Josh went by the old, if I tell you it won't come true. So he didn't tell me.
Good for him.
Yeah. And I guess you're going with that, if I tell you it won't come true.
Yeah.
And Jacob wasn't here, so I haven't asked him. But I know that he's taken on some, like, healthy living stuff. So at least know he's doing that.
Yeah. He started working out again and
yeah.
that kind of good stuff.
Lifting his weights and stuff. Yeah.
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 So, all right. So that was.
I have no idea how long we've really been talking, because we've been distracted by the dogs and stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know what we've really covered now. And it's people. I hope
It's been an hour and a half.
Well, oh gosh, I just want to say to the listener, if it sounded distracted and stuff, I apologize.
Well, this is it. This is raw. This is unedited.
Yeah.
That's how we like to do this podcast.
Yeah.
So we may hit pause while we take care of something crazy that popped up.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to hear us over the dogs.
There's not a lot of production in this.
Yes.
We just sit in our little podcast studio and
which is our kitchen table.
Shh, don't
Sorry.
peel back the curtain too
Oh,
much.
okay, sorry.
We do have an official microphone.
Yes, it is very official.
Very official.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else has been going on with me this week?
Yes, I know, you got to talk about your class.
Three classes into the 5-class stand-up comedy,
Mm-hmm.
that class that I've been taking. And this is something that I put on my Big 12 for this year, was to take a stand-up class. I started it a few weeks ago. We had to skip 2 weeks due to, like, ice and snow and stuff that we had. So we're I guess this coming Monday would have been the last class. We're a couple weeks behind. So I think I have two classes left maybe or something like that. Or maybe it's just one. I don't know. But anyhow, it's going good. So I don't think I've really talked a whole lot about the class. There's 10 of us in there. You could not have put 10 more different people in the world in a class together.
The only thing that can draw them together is comedy.
Comedy.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is a husband and wife that's in there doing it together. There's a husband, wife, and son that are in there doing it together. So that's 5 right there. There's like a 75-year-old that's doing it, man. There's about, I'm going to guess this guy's probably upper 60s to 70, retired doctor that's in there. There's another pastor. And he's a Lutheran pastor at a nearby town. Younger guy, I'm saying his 30s. And then there's like a young college kid, I'm going to guess 21 or 22 that's in there. And then there's me. So it's just such an interesting group. There's a lot of brokenness. We had to one of the first things he had us do was write our life story. He was like, you don't have to make it funny. I just want to get you used to because we have to do a 5-minute monologue, 5-minute set or whatever. He's like, I just want to get you used to what does 5 minutes feel like standing on stage with lights in your face. For me, I do this literally every week of my life. So
you could probably do it without even preparing.
Yes.
You could guess it. Yeah.
And so, but for the majority of these folks, this is something brand new to them. So there were some that were very nervous, but they wrote down their whole life story, and just this reoccurring theme through all of their stories was just brokenness, just things that had happened in their lives that were really sad. And we see that a lot in professional comics. I always think about Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's what everybody or was it Chris Farley or different people over the days?
The Belushi.
All that. Yeah.
John Belushi, I think it was. But there are all these comedians that have had these really tragic lives, that have had heavy depression, anxiety, and things like that. And they gravitate to comedy just so they could as a form of escapism, or a way of it's cathartic for them to be on stage and to kind of talk about whatever it is they talk about. And so,
well, I think too, if you're struggling with this deep sadness or whatever, how great would it feel to not only be laughing, but to be making other people laugh? Because for a moment, you're bringing that happiness to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they're all good people. They're all nice people. And so the first week we went through kind of an anatomy of what is a joke? What is it? How do you put together stuff? Second week was do your 5-minute story. And then we had to then think about our life story. Was there anything that we can pull out of that we can make jokes about or whatever? And that's what we did this past week, was kind of went over an outline.
And for everyone out there, I would like to say, you're welcome, Mike. I have provided much material for your outline. I mean, you have to thank me for that.
I mean, the very first, that week we got up to do our life story. We had to tell them 5 facts about us that people probably wouldn't know if we didn't just tell them. And also and after we did our life story, he asked us a bunch of questions, and it was basically what do you think you want to, what's funny to you? What's your life experiences? What's something that you feel comfortable talking about? And I said, family, marriage and kids. That's what I know. I'm 51 years old. I have kids ages 16 to 22, been married almost 28 years. That's all I know, And so he was like, great, go for it. If that's what you want to do. And so last week, we had to come in with he said an outline, here's some bullet points of some jokes I want to do. And he's like, and if you want to put together something, do it, Well, I felt like I could do it. And so I went in and did a 5-minute set, did essentially my set. And the teacher was very complimentary. And, he said I was the only one that got up there without notes. And which, again, I do this for a living, as far as speaking in front of people. And he was like, usually when people get up here without notes, he's like, I cringe because people don't know what 5 minutes is. And he was like, they go for 9 or 10 minutes and I have to cut them off. And he timed me. He was like, you were 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And he gave me some really good advice. And then this week, after that class, what we had to do was write out our entire 5-minute set and send it to him. And then he went through and edited and redlined stuff and added some suggestions. But he had given me some on that Monday night to say, hey, you know what? You don't need to really talk about this. This doesn't really matter. I would hit this more, though. This could be something. This is funny. And so I did that. I emailed that to him. And a couple days later, he emailed me back. He was like, amazing set. This is really good stuff. And he was like, here's a couple things. I think you have a joke in here that you hadn't really hit on yet. And he offered us a couple suggestions. And, I would say he probably offered 4, hey, think about this, think about that. And probably 2, if not 3 of them I'll do. And one of them I'm just like, that's not really me. And he told us, he was like, I'll offer suggestions. But at the end of the day, it's your artistic integrity. It's what you want. All I can do is just, this might be funny if you can figure out a way to do it. So now I have my entire 5-minute routine written out. I've been going through it. When I'm driving in the car, I literally sit there and just talk it out loud. That's for people probably think I'm crazy or I'm on the phone or something. But I'm talking for 5 minutes and I'm doing the whole set. And that's what we'll do this week is we'll get up and do our 5-minute set. And then we have our finale.
Well, one insight that I think that when you told me this, and I don't mean this to sound flippant about people's careers or what have you, and definitely don't want to make it sound like I think I could get up there and be a stand-up comedian, but some fascinating things you told me is it's kind of like when Maria went to take professional wrestling lessons at WWE. You watch it on TV, and they are professionals. Like, they have their moves and stuff. You have no idea what goes into that with them developing their persona and their character and stuff. The same thing with comedy. Like, you were sharing the different, like, story arcs and things.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what
He calls it a mind map. Like, how to start a joke, like how to create jokes off a joke. Like, here's the topic. Now, how do you bring that out?
Yeah. And so I thought that was fascinating because, again, I think there's just so many things in life. We just see it. And if somebody's good at it, you're just like, oh, I guess that's an easy thing. Or you don't necessarily think anybody could do it, but you don't know that there's like theory or, like, I guess instructions or different ways people do it. And so I guess I never thought about it. But then when you started talking about it, we started talking about different comedians like Jim Gaffigan or, different people that we listen to that use some of that stuff, which was really, really cool. Mm-hmm. The other insight I wanted you just to speak to super quickly that I thought was really cool. Whenever they tell jokes and I listen to some of them, they have to take some creative liberty, as people do. And I even joked about it. I was like, is your set loosely based on a true story? Like when you see those. But I thought it was interesting when one of the people knew you were a pastor and they asked if you were going to cuss in your set. And you said, probably not. And tell them what they said.
Yeah, so I did my whole set last week. Mm-hmm. And or not this past week, the week before last, I went through and kind of talked about all the things I wanted to do. And one of the guys raised his hand and said, I'm going to assume because you're a family guy, you're a pastor, there's not going to be any profanity in your set. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to, there's no need for me to cuss. Like, I don't need to. And so he asked the teacher, he was like, is that good or bad? Like, what do people want? Mm-hmm. And the teacher was like, it really is up to you. He's like, audiences can tell when it's forced, But
they want you to be authentic, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, he's like, they just want you to be you.
Yeah.
He goes, but you also can't be too much of you if that's the way if you're a very profane person.
Yeah.
You can't live there. And he was like, nobody wants to hear the F-bomb constantly.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear other cuss words constantly, just over and over and over. It's just going to become noise. Mm-hmm. And he brought up some points. He was like, you can make a joke about nothing's off limits. Everything is on the table. Everything could be made fun of. Everything could be a joke. But he said his rule is, what he tries to live by is, if you're not gay, don't make gay jokks. Mm-hmm. If you're white, don't make black jokes. If you're Hispanic, don't make white jokes. Or whatever it may be. He was like, just stay in your lane.
Just joke about the things that that are your lived experience, as opposed to trying to get off track and be somebody or not.
Right. Yeah. And he said, because that's when you lose an audience. Yeah. Because you don't know who you're going to offend. Mm-hmm. But if you're a gay black man, then make all the jokes you want about being a gay black man, but don't be a straight white guy and make all these jokes about gay black men.
Or if you were the gay black man and you've never had kids or anything, you wouldn't necessarily want to be up there doing a bit about raising kids or something. It wouldn't come off as this authentic, like, for example. Yeah, so it's like, I thought that was fascinating,
And then the teacher did say, if you can do clean sets, he said he advises all of his comics to have G-rated sets, at least something in their back pocket. And he said, if you can do that, it opens up a world of opportunities for you. And he's like, most don't do it though. He's like, most have their set and they're not very clean and they can't clean it up. And he said that a couple of years ago, there was a church denominational, like statewide conference meeting or whatever in Greensboro. And so they reached out to him and said, hey, do you have any comics that could come over and do like a 30-minute show for us? But it has to be G-rated. And he said he went through every comic he knew in Greensboro and was like, I don't have anybody. Like, I can't think of anybody that can do a G-rated show. So the teacher was like, I went and did it. But he was like, because I know how to do a G-rated show. I have that in my back pocket. So he told the whole class, he's like, if you can have a clean show, you're going to get corporate gigs, you'll get church gigs, you'll get school gigs, you'll get all these different gigs that other people can't get.
Which is why now I'm convinced that this is like going to be like us winning the lottery. You're just going to be like Dusty Slayer, Jim Gaffigan, or Nate Bargatze, or one of those. You're going to be traveling all over the United States doing your clean set, and I'll just be a kept woman.
I think I can just tap into churches.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the big church comedian that every Christian church knows is Tim Hawkins. He's this famous Christian comedian, but that's it.
Yeah,
he
there's nobody
has
else.
the market corner.
It's like, if he's busy that weekend or has appendicitis, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
There's nobody else.
I mean, I'm sure there's minor one. Brian Bates is a good one out of Nashville, but he's not at that Tim Hawkins.
Yeah.
And so I think if I could put something together, I think I could do a 5:30 and maybe even an hour-long set. I really believe I could, just knowing that if I put together a 35-minute sermon every week, surely I could put together a 30-minute comedy set. And then you just do that on rotation. You you do it, like
just keep doing the same thing over and over. Tweak it a little bit. Yeah.
Which this past Friday night, so taking the class, the teacher had said, you get into anything free we do, like at the comedy club. So that's part of the benefits. The same thing applied last year when I took the improv class. I just never took them up on it. So this year I was like, I've got to go see a comedy.
Yeah.
Like I've honestly had never even been to a stand-up comedy club. Like we've seen.
So it's like, I want to be a ballet dancer. I have never been to a recital or a dance.
We've seen Nate Bargatze a few times.
But like in a coliseum,
right. We've seen
auditorium.
Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
We've seen Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
We've seen the biggest of the big.
Yeah.
But as far as being in a little tiny comedy club, I've never been to one.
Yeah.
So you had book club Friday night. Maria's going out of town. Jacob was still up in Boone. And I told Josh, I was like, come on, we're going on an adventure. And him and I drove over to Greensboro and went to the comedy show. And since when they have tables and chairs set up and they sat us in the front row. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. And because you always have that fear that comedians are going to make fun of you.
Yeah.
But none of them did. And I don't really
like. You want to know
why?
Because they're all women and they're good people.
Well,
that's why.
Yeah, probably so. So it turned out to be an all women's show, which I don't think that's how it wasn't billed that way.
Which I say girl power.
Girl power. There was like 8 or so lady comedians, and 7 or 8, and they were all really good. And they all had 5-minute sets. They were all very different, but even Josh, we left, and Josh was like, that was really fun. He's like, that was a lot better than I thought it would be. And it was funny when we first got there, he was like, this is it? Like looking at the outside, I'm like, yeah, this is the building. And then we go inside, and he's like, this is not at all what I thought it would be. He's like, this is actually nicer. And it is.
Yeah.
It's a nice little comedy club. I was like, what'd you think it was going to be? And he's like, I don't know. I just thought y'all were like in a big white room sitting in a circle around chairs. I didn't think it looked like this.
Yeah, like you thought some kind of like classroom kind of, or I think about a gym space or something,
right.
Just like
multi-purpose room
with like metal chairs or something.
And so I was like, right where that comedian standing, that's where I stand every Monday night doing my thing. And so it was so much fun. And the crowd, it filled up, that little club, and the crowd was hot. They were laughing. I would have loved to have been up there that night to do comedy with that crowd, because they were laughing at everything. And they were very nice. You could tell, even the stuff that kind of fell flat, there was at least some chuckles,
Which is why our tip would always be, well, at least for your jokes, to take Maria to a comedy show, because she laughs so loud.
Maria would have been dying.
Yeah.
There was a lady there who sat behind me who laughed so hard the whole night. Josh and I would just look at each other because we were like, she's about to have a heart attack. Like it was like she couldn't catch her breath at times.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm going to bring this up about race. The audience was pretty mixed, 50-50. Black, white. And our instructor told us that on the first night, he said, when you're doing comedy, he said, white people will laugh at anything. Because for whatever reason, white people have this culture where they feel uncomfortable if no one's laughing. So they will laugh just to make you feel better and them feel better. And he said, black people, you got to earn their laughter. They will not laugh unless it's funny. And he's just like, in their mind, I paid my money. You better do your job. And if you don't do your job, I ain't going to laugh. And so that's why I knew it was that those women did really good, because the entire crowd was laughing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like half the people were laughing and the other half sat
they
there.
Won
like,
everybody over.
They won every person won everybody in that place over, and it was a really good crowd.
And they traveled. You said that surprised me.
I was shocked.
All over.
I thought it was just going to be people from the Greensboro area.
Yeah.
But there was somebody from Delaware. There was a lady from Philadelphia. There was a lady from Charleston, South Carolina. There was a lady who made a comment. I think she said she was from Iowa. I mean, it was crazy. I'm like, so I'm ready to find out tomorrow night, on Monday night, when I go back. I'm going to ask Steve, the instructor, like, where do these, like, is this normal? Like, these people travel to do this?
It's far to do that,
Because they couldn't have made nothing.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, because it's inexpensive. It sounds like it's a great plan if you want to just have lighthearted fun.
The place held 50 people.
Yeah.
They charged $10 a head.
Right.
So you're talking $500.
Yeah. So the people, that's what you and I talked about. I guess they're doing it to make it. To make it big.
What are they making? 30, 40 bucks?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. So, and especially for travel that far, it's not going to go far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, look at it, if you get paid $25, you're only doing 5 minutes. There. But,
exactly.
I mean, you put in a lot of
but that's the thing. That's like when I go do a talk somewhere or something, it might be like, well, you did all this, but all the work that goes into that. Or like we talked about with Maria's film stuff, how we watch them put 10 hours into a 3-minute commercial.
Yeah.
That's what you're also paying for, is all that preparation.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So comedy class has been good. Now, the bad news for me is at the end of the class, they do a student-only show. And because of the way it all got moved around because of the snow and everything, the show would have been next Sunday, March 1st. But now it's March 8th. We're going out of town that Sunday. So I'm the only one out of the 10 that's not going to be there.
And I won't get to see all your friends that you've made.
I know, right? And so, and I told him, because he was like, is there anybody that's not going to be here March 8th? And I was the only person. And I told him, I said, do not schedule it around me. It's just because it got bumped. I'm sorry. I'd already had this vacation planned. We're all going out of town for my kids' spring break. That's just, it is. And so he tried to pick another night, but he just couldn't find one where 9 out of the 10 would be there.
Right.
And so he's like, I'm sorry, we'll just have to do it then. And he said, but for you, he's like, I'm just going to put you on one of our Greensboro laugh shows. So that was another reason I went Friday night, because that was a Greensboro laugh show.
So you can see. Oh, wow. So that's a much higher caliber.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, than you thought you were going to be. It's going to be, you're going to be there with somebody, I flew from California to do this. And here's Mike G. He's never done anything before.
That's it. So, I mean, we walked out and Josh was like, so do you think you can hang with these people? I said, no. So it was good for me. I have to
it gives you
tighten up some stuff.
Well, and I think that's the other thing. Like, if there's something like that you haven't done as much, that's what keeps you on your feet. Is because not that you're arrogant. It's not that. You just get comfortable. Do it. There's certain stuff. Like, if you ask me to talk about it, I'm like, I can do that in my sleep. But you do some things sometimes that stretch you. Like, I talked about that one thing at work that stretched me that I had to do. Like, it's good to feel that.
And then Josh insulted me. I said, we were sitting in there, and I was like, well, I was like, whenever I do the show, Josh asked me, he said, are you going to invite people? And I was like, I'll probably invite our small group, Tim and Wendy. I said, I said, I think I could probably get 20 people here. And Josh was like, you think you could get 20 people here? He did not think that I could get 20 people.
You don't have 20 friends.
That
20 friends that are willing to drive to Greensboro
and pay $10 to see me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I could. But Josh was like, he was like, I think max 17.
That's an odd number
who's
to come
the
up
three
with.
that aren't going to come?
Yeah. Okay, Josh. Oh. All right, that's why you also need children. They will not hold back, will they? They are ruthless in what they'll tell you.
We had such a good time. We did. We had such a fun time, and it was great. It was. So it'll be different. So I will get to do my comedy show. It will be not with the other students, which is maybe good or bad.
Yeah.
because the people who will be there watching the students will be friends and family who may not be used to coming to a comedy show, and it may not, they don't know how it.
Yeah.
But if I'm at a Greensboro Laugh show with people who show up to do, the comedy, they know what they're coming for. They've obviously been there before.
Yeah.
This is their date night. Then I might get a hotter crowd.
Yeah.
I might be okay.
Yeah. Well, I know the subject material is riveting.
I don't want to give too much of it away, but there is a lot of Beth in my material.
And that will shock our listening audience that I would be able to provide material for a comedy routine.
Yeah.
But yes. Just by living my life, not by intentionally trying.
Yeah.
Just by being me. I guess.
It's good. It's good stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about a minute ago about embellishing a little bit or doing whatever. And that's one of the things he told us. I was like, 5 years ago, da-da-da-da-da. And so he was like, don't say that. Say last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, he was like, it doesn't matter. People don't, he said, if you say something happened last week, last month, last year, they're fine with that. If you put it a few years back, unless it's this crazy story, they almost disengage a little bit. So he said, that's why you always hear comedians say, hey, I was talking to a guy the other day.
Right.
And that other day wasn't the other day.
Right.
The other day was probably 2 months ago.
Right.
So I think that's about it. I think, I know we had one more topic we wanted to talk about. We were going to talk about judgy Christians.
But we have to give that enough time.
Yeah, we've already this is almost an hour already.
Yeah, so we may need an hour to talk about that.
We may. But maybe, no promises, but we may try to record something this week and have a special pop-up podcast.
Oh, no.
Where that's the only thing we talk about.
It's crazy talk.
We had an incident this weekend, and I'll tell you, it involves middle fingers, social media, and an unsolicited judgy comment. I will leave it there. That's
which we can also say triggers my internal anger. Yeah, man. It made me. I don't like judgy stuff.
No.
So
yeah. So we'll come back and talk about that. But I want to save that for enough time. I don't want to feel rushed. And like I said, we're already just at an hour, and I don't want people to not hear that story.
Yeah, and we don't want people to, think that we talk too long or anything.
No, we can't.
That would be sad.
Sam already doesn't listen to us anymore, I'm sure.
Oh, one other thing. I'm super excited. You said Sam, and it made me think of Shelly, and Shelly likes houseplants, and I like houseplants. But anyway, it made me think about, I gave Jacob 2 houseplants, and we're going to see if he'll keep them alive. 3, yes. I am so excited. I hope he can keep at least one alive, and I hope he enjoys them.
I whispered to him as he was leaving, just throw them out.
Did you really do that?
No,
anyway, but he actually seemed like he wanted them. And so I was like, I'm excited when the whole family, everybody in the family, except you, Mike, seems to love houseplants. Because Josh has...
Does Josh love houseplants?
Well, no, he likes succulents. He's got one of those snake plants that filters out the bad stuff in the air. He has one of those in his room. And then Maria, loves plants. And now Jacob's going to take a few and see if he keeps those alive. And of course, I love plants. So, yeah. Which, as an aside, really quick too, normally orchids are so hard to keep alive. And I have an orchid in there that has bloomed multiple times, and I'm very excited. Yeah, I feel like I've really done something.
You know what's funny? In my comedy class the other night, that was part of a lady's stand-up routine. She talks about orchids.
Did you really? And how hard they are?
She talks about how most people think they're dead when the blooms fall off.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah, because it just looks like a stick,
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're hard to keep.
Yeah.
They're a finicky flower, I think.
I think she's going to tie that into some kind of a joke where, what if we treated people that way?
Oh.
Where we think they're dead and they're not. I don't know. That's kind of where it looked like she was working with it.
Oh, interesting. Oh, this wasn't at the comedy club. This was in your class.
Yeah,
Oh,
she was
okay.
going over what she was going to be working
Yes.
on, and it was something that had to do
I got it.
with orchids and dead and people, and I don't know.
One last thing, and this is a question to ponder, but this isn't one of our funny questions. But it really made me think when you're talking about the comedians and the brokenness, is it that more people are drawn to comedy, or is this just life? comedy just offers the right forum for people to sometimes have to expose their vulnerabilities. And is everybody broken to that extent?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
I mean,
either.
that makes me wonder, is it really, was that, or is that the way most of the people, if you got into the right environment, sort of like an, AA meeting where people are truly honest or whatever, would you find most people have these really broken stories, you know? I don't know. That's what will be that pondering with Beth.
Maybe I'll ask
moment.
the teacher that. I'll ask the whole class. I'll be like, I'll just ask the teacher out loud. I'll raise my hand and be like, do you find that most of the people in your classes are as broken as these people? Are they as jacked up as the people I'm taking this class with?
No, but I don't mean it I think it's kind of a beautiful thing that people are they're taking.
But I don't feel like my life is that way. Like I got up there and I was like, I'm boring compared to these people.
Well, then when they hear the story about your wife, they're gonna be like, there's this brokenness.
Yeah.
See, but I mean, I do. Like, I think it's like a beautiful thing. I mean, that brokenness and people sharing it and being vulnerable with
because I
strangers.
came home that first night and I said, I don't know what I just sat through. It felt like group therapy.
Yeah. But think about it too, for them to open up and share all that, and they didn't in a room of strangers.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of, stunning. Anyway, so just that's going to be what I'm going to be pondering now, the brokenness of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, no more deep thoughts with Beth.
All right. Well, that's about does it. Thanks, Beth, for carving out time in your busy schedule for us to get this knocked out this week.
You didn't even talk about my 20-year work anniversary.
We'll have to save it.
Okay. There's so much material to talk about.
I mean, you talked about Lent for so long.
I didn't mean to, and I do apologize again to the listener because I feel like I got distracted by the whole dog thing.
You didn't. It sounded great. I mean, that's what we went with.
Yeah.
But yes, congrats. Beth has spent 20 years at the same employer. Well,
and we'll talk about it next time because
I don't know how you define that. At the same building, and it's been like 4 different companies or something. It has been.
But I think what it's made me reflect on is just even in 20 years at one place, all the things that have drastically changed in that workplace. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about working at home.
You're a dinosaur. Nobody stays 20 years anymore.
Oh, I know.
Anywhere.
Well, and that was the other thing. I thought about, one, how much things have changed in that 20 years, like just in the workforce, and then how much things changed in my personal life. Joshua wasn't even born when I took this job. I've been in this job longer than Joshua's been alive.
Well, Maria was barely born.
Yeah, she was a little bitty baby. And then I just think about, too, I don't know, just the things that shape you, the way that work intersects with your life. But to your point about the 20 years, I was like, who does anything for 20 years anymore? I mean, there's not many things that anybody does for 20 years. Yeah. And I think that was the other thing. It just made me reflect a lot, because it used to be everybody worked at a place like their whole life or something. You never moved. But like, you're right, I am a dinosaur now. I hope I'm a T-Rex with their cute little arms. People can't see me doing that. I'm holding my arms up. Like, how T-Rexes have those little arms?
Yeah, they're like the most useless dinosaur.
They can eat anything. They're very powerful and
they can
scary.
Eat,
they're in all the movies.
Looking. If dinosaurs even existed.
Oh gosh, okay. Time out. Outside of a brontosaurus.
No one has ever found an entire intact dinosaur.
Almost the whole thing.
Oh, whatever.
Listen,
they piece it together.
Go to New York and go to the Natural Science Museum.
That's fake.
I am not gonna. No, it is not. And I found this bird claw thing that I showed Josh, or he showed me. It's like this bird. Where's Josh? Josh, come here. What's that? Really quick. That bird foot thing that we talked about. It's completely preserved with the flesh on it.
Okay, well, that don't mean it was a dinosaur.
But it was old. Hold on.
It's an ancient bird. It's called a moa. It's a ratite. It's from New Zealand. It's got these big old feet. There's one found in the mountain. It was around at least 800 plus years old somewhere.
See, that's old.
800 years old?
But I'm just
Come on now.
But it has.
That ain't dinosaurs.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, but that is like not even just a bone. I mean, we cannot debate
Our
this.
friend Ross is 800 years old. He's been traveling through time all this whole time.
And his jumpsuit.
In his white jumpsuit. That's what he puts on when he goes. He probably killed that bird.
People don't know what we're talking about with that, but we are convinced that Ross may be a ghost that's lived.
He's a time traveler.
And we think that
he
we're
really is.
Yes, like there's this book, The Time Traveler's Wife, where he tells about. But we may find a picture and we'll be like, "Who's that? That looks like Ross."
Yeah.
And it'll be Ross in it.
I swear, I bet you could look at pictures from the Civil War. I bet you can look at Roman gladiator days.
And then there's this also other thing we've talked about it, the Mandela effect, where you see things and that somebody says no, it wasn't that, like what that cornucopia or whatever with Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell somebody they said the cornucopia wasn't there. What was the fruit in?
Nothing. They said it was just sitting there.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember it that way.
It's a separate timeline.
But the thing that happens with Ross is all of us, like there's, I don't know, 100 of us, not really, but a lot of us insist that Ross wore this white jumpsuit. I can picture him walking by me in it. Like I can see it. And he swears he doesn't own one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Ross is like creating like the same Fruit of the Loom phenomenon.
And it's not like we're planting ideas in people's heads.
No.
We'll be like, what's an outfit Ross has? And they're like, white jumpsuit.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we're like, yes.
Exactly.
And
yes.
Ross swears he doesn't own one.
And meanwhile, one day we're going to go and we'll be looking and we'll find like that white
Ross
jumpsuit.
tries to say it's like a light grayish pair of khakis with like a white jacket or something.
No. I know the difference in gray and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, it was Alton Rumfeld that first discovered the white jumpsuit.
Yes.
we
And
all believe
Alton
it.
brought it up. And
Yes.
then I was like, yes, I've seen it and something, because I feel like, too, it was one of those things when somebody's like, oh, who's Ross? Like in the early days. And somebody's
like, the guy that wears white jumpsuit.
Yes. I love it. Okay. Anyway.
Either that or it's a Tommy Bahama shirt.
Yes, that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
That's his uniform.
Yeah, that was his old high school uniform.
Yeah, but he did get new shoes.
Did he?
I don't know. Did he? I thought he
Yeah.
did.
Oh, yeah. He ordered
did.
new shoes.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
new
what I
shoes.
thought. Yeah. Oh,
So-
our dogs are going crazy again, so we probably really have to sign
Blame
off.
Josh for that. All right. Well, we're going to go now. We might have a pop-up later this week where we get to tell you the story of the judgy Christians. But other than that, it's been fun.
Yes.
This is Mike.
And Beth.
Hey, are you still there?